All right, hey everybody, this is a Nasdaq recap for May 23rd. I hope your day went better than mine. Today was not my best day, so I'm hoping you can even learn from my mistakes. There were two plays you could have made today that actually would have gone 100%, and I'm hoping that I will learn from it and I can share that with you as well. An A plus setup that we are looking for is a trend break, a Psar change, confirming under or over the 20 EMA, and then just using those fib levels to maximize those gains. And so I will put the video in here that explains a little bit more about the indicators that I use. But here's one thing that I definitely learned again today is that 9 o'clock is not really a time to enter in. Everything here was looking like puts. You've got a tweezer candle here and it was coming all the way down, and it felt a lot like Friday where you're just thinking, okay, this is going to be going down. But 9:15 is the time to enter your trade with conviction, with size, because of this reason right here. This started bouncing up really at this point, and so there's really no trade at this point. But now is the time to actually put on here where, yes, on a given day, we would be giving a chance for fib retracement. But also, if you're wondering how far something could actually go, that's called the fib extension. And so I want to put that out there today because there will be times when you're going to make a call and you're trying to figure out, well, when should I sell on that call? And so right now there's no position to be made, no play to be made. In fact, you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, I might be seeing a wedge forming. Not quite sure, but I might be seeing a wedge forming. So as we're seeing all of these things occurring, very tricky day. You had these spinning tops in here, you had these doji candles, and so this is a point in time when I would be drawing. I want to get all of these levels represented inside my wedge, and just to know that when that breakout does occur, I'm going to go in. And so let's just take a look. Now, right now it's flirting with the top part of this wedge, and so my call buy would be right here at the 21.3, and so right there, I would actually be entering into a call because it has broken outside of that wedge. But even that wasn't a very fun play to be made because it just kind of hovered right in here and it was just hard to know what to do. But that was and is the play to be made. If something breaks out of a wedge, that is the play to be made. And so I want to put that on here as far as at that time, at 10 o'clock, those 295 calls, let me put that right here, they were 39 cents, those 295 calls. And I use 0 DTE because I never plan on holding them overnight. So now this is where those fib extensions come into play. This is a possible sell point right here, but let's just watch how this goes. And if it gets above this, then we want to be able to sell up here. The follow through was a little bit tough today. That's why today was a frustrating day. But you can see that's a pretty strong candle right there, consolidation. And now it's pulling back, pulled back to a level right here that that's now my stop would be underneath this wick right here. I want to put a tight stop on a day like today. Now right there, you can see after it consolidated a little bit, the 8 EMA is over the 20, and this is showing green. These are showing calls. And right there, that's a very good time to sell at the 293.78 because it's getting that fib extension, the 0.38 fib. Now, could it go higher? If it does, then we'll actually scale out more. But there was just something really slow about the tape today, something really indecisive about it. And so I would encourage everyone to take gains on days like that. So now we have something occurring here where it's coming back and it's actually testing the 20 EMA. So if you didn't sell all of that position, I would be out at this point. Anytime it dips under that 8, it gets a little bit questionable as far as where it's going to go from there. Because at this point, if you draw this trend line, you can see on the bottom of those wicks right there, we've now dropped below this trend line. And so this becomes really interesting. So we've got fib extensions on here. And now we can actually draw our fib retracement to see if there might be an idea of how far this might even retrace. So let me pull that up. This is the first time I've made a video where we're showing the extensions and the retracement at the same time, and you'll see why this is going to come in help us. I'm pulling that up to the high of the day on where that was. And you can see they work together fairly well, and it's not really over the top of anything down here. So we're doing okay. At this point, we want to be entering in onto a put position. If it gets underneath this fib right here, it would be underneath the 20. You can see the Psar has changed, but it's hitting right on that fib right there. So it dropped below. Let's see if we can zoom in here. And we'll zoom back here. And for the second trade that could have been made today, you would have actually had a buy placed underneath this wick. It's confirmed underneath that 20. We have a Psar switch. We have a trend break switch. And at this point, these puts right here, they were actually 50 cents. So let's just put that, I should update what the other ones were. Those calls, see if we put that right there. These calls right up here, they were sold, they could have been sold at the very, it's always hard to sell at the very high, the top of the day. But if you saw that it got above this fib extension right here, you could have a sell placed right underneath this one right here. And that actually was 88 cents. They could have been purchased for 39 cents. And you could have sold them for more than 100% on a really choppy day with very little follow through. There was 100% play to be made right there, and this is actually going to be 100% play here as well. I did not capitalize on 100%. In fact, this is my first red day in a very long time, in I think 3.5 weeks. So now we're under here, and now here's what's going to happen. It happened really fast. Right here, as this was occurring, I had my sell placed right here, and I was pretty certain I'd have, I sold 90% of my position right here, right above that fib. And I was thinking I could have sold more, that it would actually bleed down and test VWAP a little bit. But it didn't. You're going to see this actually formed into a hammer candle, and we had pretty decent bounce. But that is how you can maximize your sells. This was 50 cents right here, and right down here, this was actually $1.05 at its peak. It was a pretty nasty bounce, and I'll just show this to you. This is why you want to sell on these fibs. You're not guessing. You're seeing what the algorithms actually are looking at in their cells on a day. And just take a look at this. If you can get these fib retracements on here, you can actually save yourself from these bounces where, I mean, this didn't even hover below this fib for very long at all. It just bounced off of that. I would call this an electric fence right there. And yes, you could have played calls. I wouldn't call that an A+ move necessarily. Even though this did break a downtrend. But that was a pretty ridiculous bounce right off of there. And I know that these calls did end up going 100%. So you could have technically made 3 trades today, but I wanted to highlight these 2 trades right here. The breakout from the wedge, and then the retracement where that trend was broken, and you're able to use the fib extensions and the fib retracements, and just know these are just electric fence. If you had a tough day today, bounce back. Know that if today was indecisive or there was a little follow through, we will see days this week where there's a really clear trend.